If you're a non-EU national thinking about working in Malta, this video could save you a lot of time, money and frustration. From January 2026, Malta is introducing new mandatory rules for third country nationals applying for a work permit, and these changes are not minor.
Attention non-EU workers to Malta. Important pre-departure rules have changed. These rules affect you. Are you prepared?
They affect how you apply, when you apply, and in some cases, whether your application will even be accepted. This isn't political commentary and it's not speculation, it's official policy. So in this video, I'll walk you through what's changing, who it affects, and what this realistically means if you're planning to move to Malta as a TCN in 2026 or later. First of all, let's look at why Malta is doing this. Malta heavily relies on foreign workers, especially in sectors like hospitality, construction and healthcare. And over the years, that system expanded very quickly and arguably perhaps without sufficient oversight too. As a result, Malta has faced issues like worker exploitation, poor housing conditions, language barriers at work, and people arriving without understanding their rights or obligations. I think it is also fair to say that the very large influx of foreign workers, and I'm specifically talking of those who have willingly chosen not to integrate, have had some negative impacts on the Maltese people. So officially, these new rules are about integration, worker protection, and skills matching. But in practice, these new rules also mean a stricter and more controlled entry process, especially for first-time applicants. And to be honest, I think Malta needed to make some changes because the direction of recent years was not sustainable in the long term. It is now well documented that the island is overcrowded with seemingly unskilled people and with those who refuse to integrate. And so these new rules may be seen as a step in the right direction for many Maltese people. Before we continue, I'd like to share a discount code with my YouTube viewers, which will get you 20% off any of our handy ebook guides. Use code YouTube20 at checkout to get a 20% discount. The link is in the description. Now back to the episode. So let's delve straight into what is changing and how it will affect new arrivals going forward. From January 2026, every first-time TCN applying for a single permit must complete a pre-departure course before applying. No course means no certificate, and no certificate means no application. This applies to all non-EU, non-EEA and non-Swiss nationals who are aged 16 and over. Just to emphasize that these new rules apply to those applying for a first-time work permit. If you already hold a valid permit, you are in fact exempt, and so this essentially affects new arrivals from 2026. So with that said, how do you actually go about completing the course? Well, the course is completed through the Skills Pass portal, which opens on 5th of January 2026. And as its name implies, the course must be completed pre-departure. The course includes 2 online modules, living and working in Malta and rights and obligations at the workplace. Each module takes around 10 to 12 hours to complete, including videos, reading material, and assignments. So yeah, there's certainly some study and work to be had here, that's for sure. And after that, there's even a live 20-minute online interview to go through too. The idea of this interview is to assess your proficiency in the English language and your overall understanding of the course material. You have up to 42 days to complete everything. And if you're wondering about the cost, this will set you back €250, and this is paid up front. Once you pass, you receive a pre-departure course certificate, and from the 1st of March 2026, Identité will only process work permit applications from people who already hold this certificate. A simple way to think about it is this: the certificate will now become your digital entry key to Malta's labour market. So now let's move on to some sector-specific rules. For some sectors, like tourism and hospitality, there's an extra requirement. In these roles, applicants must complete Part 2 of the Skills Pass, which includes sector-specific training and assessments. Yes, I know, there is much to take in here, and as if the process wasn't already bogged down with much paperwork and bureaucracy, there'll soon be even more to do. The specific sector training and assessments are important because it makes last-minute recruitment harder, seasonal hiring more structured, and makes progression now mandatory and not optional. In short, Malta is moving away from quick turnover and toward longer-term workforce stability. It's important to note that further sectors will likely be added to complete Part 2 in due course as well. Another major but less discussed change is the suitability check carried out by Jobsplus. Before a permit is approved, Jobsplus can now require the following: your pre-departure certificate or skills pass, an employer-signed declaration of suitability, qualification recognition through the Malta Qualifications Recognition Information Centre or MQRIC, and regulatory approval for regulated professions. Jobsplus can also refuse applications if they're not satisfied. This actually shifts more responsibility onto employers, and that is in fact deliberate. It's designed to reduce fake job offers and exploitative recruitment practices, and so that's a positive step in my opinion. You may be wondering how this all affects highly skilled professionals, and the answer is that highly skilled workers are indeed affected just like someone who is less skilled. Highly skilled workers are not exempt. They are just treated a little differently. For example, a TCN doctor must still complete the pre-departure course and acquire the certificate. Part 2 is currently not required, but a doctor must, as has always been the case, still obtain regulatory approval and qualification recognition. The upside here is that skilled professionals can qualify for longer renewals, often 2 or even 3 years, depending on the scheme they use to apply under. For example, those arriving under the Blue Card, KEI or SEI schemes versus those directly applying for the single permit. Your skill level and qualifications will in essence determine if you can renew your work permit for just 1 year at a time or up to 2 or 3 years at a time. And of course, this very much depends on the terms and duration of your work contract. So while entry does become more structured, long-term stability actually improves for skilled workers. So what's the reality? Yes, it becomes harder to move to Malta as a TCN. More steps, more time, more cost, and more scrutiny. But at the same time, serious applicants will benefit, worker protection improves, exploitative recruiters lose influence, and long-term residents gain stability. Let's be clear about this. These new changes essentially mean that you can't just come to Malta as a TCN and just wing it anymore. Trying to rush, cut corners, and those listening to bad advice who basically want to just gain a foothold in Malta will now find that things have gotten a whole lot tougher. Malta isn't closing the door. It's just checking more carefully who walks through it. I also suspect that many Maltese people would welcome the changes because, as I touched on in my last video, there are certainly a number of Maltese people who strongly feel that their island is overcrowded and that immigration must be reduced. Rightly or wrongly, this is the truthful reality of how some are feeling. And while some will even say that the changes don't go far enough, one could argue that Malta is taking a slightly tougher stance on immigration. So, in summary, if you're planning to work in Malta as a TCN, preparation is no longer optional. It's essential. If you rush or rely on bad advice, this new system will stop you. But if you prepare early and understand the rules, Malta is still very much an option.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our website if you're looking for more information and resources about relocating to Malta, or if you want to book a video consultation or purchase one of our handy ebook guides. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.